Hello, fellow rebel capitalists. I hope you're well. Michael Burry in the news, taking a lot of heat from the mainstream media, as you can imagine. If you didn't see his rant last night, epic rant on Twitter, he was going over taxes, that it's just completely a outright lie. It's completely bogus that the rich don't pay their fair share, as an example. He went on to state that there are only two genders. I personally didn't know that that was really up for debate. I guess it is nowadays. And we have to acknowledge that men can get pregnant and all these other crazy, crazy ideas. But he said basically there are two genders. If you don't like it, unfollow me. I've kind of done the same thing on my Twitter feed several times, not about the genders, but just stating something that's a complete fact and saying that if you don't like it, just hit the bricks, hit the unfollow button. It's very, very easy to do. But let's go through some of the things that he was saying because I think it's relevant to what's happening in today's day and age. And then it also shows us that behind the scenes, these fund managers, and not all of them, but especially the ones that you don't see on CNBC all the time, but the ones that make all the money. Usually, when you talk to these people face to face, they value freedom, they value liberty. I'm not going to say that they're all libertarian, but I would go so far as to say that if they have to choose between this side being the realm of the authoritarians and this side being some individuals who stand up for liberty, then they're almost all of them, 95% of them are going to be more on this side of the people who value freedom and really individualism. I think that's kind of the political game today. It's not really right and left. It's authoritarians against kind of old school original liberals. People who it's the authoritarians against the people who value sovereign individual freedom and liberty. Okay, so let's go into what Michael Burry was saying. Oh, yeah, screen share. So this is on Zero Hedge. Michael Burry drops red pills in epic Twitter rant. We all know who Michael Burry is. We don't need to go over that. But the first one is what he was saying about taxes. And this is absolutely true. He says top 1% earn 20.9% of the income. They pay 40.1% of the taxes. Bottom 90% pay just 28.6% of taxes. Top 1% tax rate is 7 times higher than rate paid by the bottom 50%. Biden tells rich to pay like everyone else does. So, a tax cut for the rich or class warfare built on lies. I mean, that may be kind of charged with a little emotion, but I mean, he's nailing it. That's the absolute truth. And it's an inconvenient truth, or it's an uncomfortable truth for those people like AOC who want to claim that the rich don't pay their fair share. It's just when you look at the statistics, you see that you can't really hold that position if you're being intellectually honest. And I didn't realize this, but I guess Michael Burry's a Trump fan, or at least he's sticking up for Trump. In which case he says that, I don't know if I can say this on Twitter, or excuse me, on YouTube, but Trump never said to, hopefully you guys can see this, use bleach as I don't even know if I can say that, but use bleach in a certain way that might prove beneficial to your health. let's say that. And he tweets something that shows that Trump really didn't say that. Okay, we'll move on. Hopefully, I can read this one directly. Although I can't. He says Trump never said that these certain groups were fine people when he was referring to the protest in Charlottesville. Trump again talking about UV light. Won't go into that. I would go into it, but again, I got to keep this YouTube friendly. And this one, I definitely can't go into here on YouTube, but you guys can read it. And this is Michael Burry stating basically, why are we not considering this since it's something that we have used since the 1970s? And we have a ton of experience all over the world, I might add, with human beings and for several different applications, not just for what the mainstream media tries to focus on. And then he says at the end of his rant here, have you had enough yet? Basically what he's saying. And to add to the powder keg that he already lit off, you can tell on Twitter. I mean, for me, it's not that controversial. In fact, it's not controversial at all. It's just pretty much, I mean, if you're just having a conversation with your buddies, I mean, would this be like taboo? I'm not really. It sounds like any conversation I have with a group of guys at lunch or something. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. But for Twitter, oh my gosh, you can imagine this was just people freaking out like the sky is falling. But he says, if you haven't had enough yet, there are only two genders. There, please unfollow me. Mic drop. But I mean, again, is that I think what's more telling about what happened is that this is actually news. I mean, is this really controversial to say this? That there are only two genders? And if it is controversial, what does that say about our society today? You know, if you look at history and see what brings down empires, whether it's the Roman Empire, whether it's the Ottoman Empire. I mean, go back 7,000 BC and you look at I mean, that's pretty much where they record history. And you look at these, these empires that existed back then in the day. And you see that it's a very common theme from for the variables that bring them down, or the common denominators, I should say, that actually bring them to their demise. And the one thing that you see that is always consistent, it's the old saying that strong men create good times, or hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create bad times or hard times. And then it's just this cycle over and over again, regardless of whether it's, like I said, the Persian Empire, the Byzantine Empire, which is the tail end of the Roman Empire. It just doesn't matter. You see it happen over and over and over again. I think you see it happening today in the United States. I hope I'm wrong, but I think the majority of evidence would point in that direction. And just the fact that what Michael Burry is saying here, just the fact that that is controversial in today's society, shows us that we've got a lot more weak men around us than we do strong men. That's for sure. All right, guys, no super chats. So I wish you a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your evening. Make sure you're always standing up, fighting for freedom. And we'll see you on the next video.